Peace and light, family. Welcome to a brand new episode of High Zone. Today on the menu, we got some disturbing, diabolical TikToks that I want you to see. Before we get into that, if you're not tapped in with the family, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for every time I drop. You can rock out with me and the family. Definitely appreciate everybody who's been tapping in, who's been locking in with the family. I love y'all, and I love y'all like cook food. With that being said, Zone family, hit that share button and that hype button when it's available so more people that's like-minded like you, brilliant-minded like you, get to see these videos. With no further ado, let's get straight into these bangers.
This is an old video of a Dwind. Some would allege that this is computer-generated imagery. These beings do actually exist. They're associated with gnomes, pixies, fairies, and the fae. And they're typically associated with mischievous trickster archetypes. Now, contrary to what you may believe, these beings actually do exist, and there's multiple different variations of them. Now, the red caps are said to be malevolent. They're malevolent trickster archetypes that are very mischievous, and not only are they tricksters, but they will unalive you, all right? They're said to be murderous, all right? They get things like knives, sharp instruments, and they will pretty much try to kill you, all right? So if you ever see a red cap Duende, run. There's also several good variants of the Duende as well. One in particular is referred to as the Vento line, which is green with wings, and they're typically said to help fishermen row their boats. There's also some that are referred to as house guardians that are typically depicted as small with wrinkled faces and very bright eyes. These beings are said to actually be very respectful as long as you respect them, and they will even go as far as protecting you and your home. Now, if you go to the Philippines, they'll tell you that the Duendes dressed in black are bad, and the Duendes that wear white are good. Now, my question, period, is where do they get their clothes? Where are these Duendes finding clothes they size? The Duendes are also said to be guardians and protectors of all children. The Momoyas or Andine are Duendes that are said to protect the forest. So if you go in the forest lighting fires and things of that nature and your fire continuously is going out, 9 times out of 10 it's a Duende that's trying to protect the forest that consistently is putting that fire out. Or if you notice things happening once you go in the forest and they just don't trust your spirit, you'll notice things happening, things being thrown at you. This is 9 times out of 10 a Duende that's the guardian of nature and trying to protect nature from malevolent spirit forces. Now, for the most part, Duendes are just like us. If you treat them with respect, they'll treat you with respect. All right, and if you treat them with disrespect, they'll treat you with disrespect. The reason a lot of people can't see these entities is because they're very magical creatures, and they actually have the ability of jumping and hopping in between dimensions. Duende can literally walk right past you and you won't see it because we see less than 1% of the light photon spectrum. But when you tap into things like magic mushrooms or delve into the mycelium network, you will notice that you have more access to the electromagnetic spectrum, and these beings that once weren't unseen become visible. Most Duendes stay away from humans due to how low the frequency has gotten on the planet. Our ancestors vibrated at a much higher frequency due to the fact that they had decalcified pineal glands. They weren't attacked with lead, cadmium, mercury, endocrine disruptors, and so forth. So they vibrated at a much higher resonance. As the frequency increases and the magic returns back to the planet due to primordial ley line activation, more of these ancient magical beings are going to begin to return, all right? You're going to begin to see the fae. You're going to begin to see things like dragons. I'm talking about cryptids. A lot of the entities that they claim were fiction are going to begin to surface. I recommend decalcifying and activating the pineal gland, also detoxifying the body and cleansing yourself of all low-frequency parasitic invaders. These are all things to throw us out of synchronicity with our true cosmic primordial essence.
Everything was super facts. They have different kind of Duendes doing different kind of work. Just like us. Different kind of beings doing different kind of work. From evil to good. From light to dark. But anyway, family, let me know what you thought down below.
Inside the water, they are all women. And those were women from that Genesis chapter 6.
All of them are women.
Yes, the women themselves, that had the carnal knowledge of the angels. Spiritually, something has been exchanged. They didn't die with the flood. They became the mummy waters. Yes, which live inside the water. We that were fishermen, in the night, at times you see the mummy waters bathing their babies.
Wait, You were a fisherman.
Yes.
And what you're telling me is that in the night you've seen Mami Water bathing
their babies.
with your eyes.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. When they see you, they will retire inside. As a fisherman, if you meet those ones that they use the semen to produce the men now, those are the terrible ones.
Don't you think some of these are just made up stories?
Absolutely no. There is a world inside water, and there is a kingdom in the air.
In the water and in the air.
Yes.
Tell me about the one in the air. What you're saying now?
Yes.
I, as a man,
Yes.
can pick a random lady,
Yes.
not knowing that she's not a human being.
Yes.
And if I have intercourse with her,
Yes.
there's a channel
Yes.
through which my semen goes through.
Yes. To produce
To the
other
underworld.
baby and to send them to the world when they are mature.
So when they send them back to the world,
Yes.
who are they and what do they do?
I'm not gonna lie, family. That interview seemed like it's a fire interview. Cause I need that whole documentary for us on the channel. For real, for real.
Yeah.
That don't look like AI.
Well,
I'm not
eyes
gonna
on.
cap.
If you're new here, hit that subscribe. Join the family, tap in, not out. Love, peace, and light to everybody tuned in.
That do not look like AI.
Let's rise together.
Tryna better my wrongs, except on my
Here's
flaws.
that.
I've been fighting these storms, tryna answer the call. If I fall, I evolve. Yeah, I rise through it all. Lot of pain in my songs, but my
Let me know what y'all
heart
thought
still
about this
stands
one.
tall. Yeah, late nights I've been wrestling with
Cap
shadows
or
in my
rap?
mind, tryna heal from the pieces of a love I left behind. Everybody want the light, but don't respect the climb. I've been grinding through my trauma just to make my spirit shine. Mama told me keep your heart, I never let it freeze. But the world will test your faith, put you down upon your knees. Still I'm reaching for the sky, though the pain ain't never ceased. Turn my
That look
Imagine
official
finding
tissue.
out that the Lugau that's been hunting the kids in the neighborhood all along was your friend's mother. I am back
Damn.
with another spooky story, and this one is a Lugau story. A lot of people always ask, what is a Lugau? A Lugau is a shapeshifter. They look regular human
Right.
during the day, and at night they shed their skins off and fly to haunt
Job.
and feed. Now let's get into this story. You may not want to watch this one at night. We're gonna call the person who submitted the story Zoe. So Zoe and his family stayed in a place called Blocos in St. Mark, Haiti. On the block they stayed on, the kids in that area were getting sick. And every
Saint Mark.
once in a while, one would die. So they knew it had to be a Lugau in the area. They just didn't know who it was. So Zoe had a 1-year-old brother at the time, and every time it was bedtime, they started hearing meowing outside. And you know Haitian parents, when you hear stuff outside your house, you don't go looking. You just let it be till morning. But the thing is, every time the meow started, Zoe's little brother would not stop crying. He couldn't get any sleep, he was irritated all night, and Zoe's mother was basically up all night till 4 in the morning praying. And that's pretty much when the meows would stop anyway, around 4 a.m. When the meows stopped, the little brother would finally fall asleep. Now they tried to get to the bottom of who the Lugau in the area was, but that's kind of tough because they all look normal during the day. Come to find out, there were actually multiple Lugaus in the area, but that's besides the point. There's this one night that Zoe says he'll never forget. It was really hot and there was no electricity. In Haiti, they do this thing where it's too hot to sleep in the house, so they just sleep on the roof. Well, the kids do, at least, and it's also a place that they would go up to study when the house is too loud. So Zoe and his older brother went up there first. Zoe's brother was studying and Zoe was preparing the area for everybody to sleep. And this had to be around 10 p.m. So Zoe's up there preparing the roof and he can see his brother pacing back and forth reciting his lines. About 3 to 4 houses down, this old lady comes out into her backyard and she looks like she's putting clothes out to dry. Which was weird because it was nighttime, but Zoe didn't think much of it. He kept doing what he was doing and getting ready to call the rest of the family up. From where they were on the roof, you'd think the old lady would be able to see them, but I guess she couldn't. As Zoe's getting ready to go down to call his family, he reached the edge of the roof and right there his brother was pacing back and forth. So at this point they're both facing this lady's backyard and they're getting a perfect view. Well, that's when the old lady stopped and Zoe said, I shit you not. She opened her arms like someone about to fly or something, and out of nowhere, flames started forming behind her. It looked like it was coming from her, and it was really bright. When his brother saw it, he yelled, "Way!" I guess it spooked the old lady because she didn't know that anybody could see her. So she took off flying, but she flew wrong and hit a tall, just that metal sheet that her roof was made of. And it shot her right back to the ground. So at this point, Zoe and his brother jumped off the roof, ran inside to tell everyone. About 15 minutes later, they went back out to the rooftop to look. By the time they got up there, the old lady was gone. And he said, well, we all slept on the roof anyway because LOL, we really weren't scared. But when everybody woke up the next day, Zoe got to thinking, wait a minute, he knew that old lady. He realized the house that she came out of was his friend's house. They had to be his mother because for such a young guy, his mother was really old. And Zoe said, I shit you not, a few hours later, he saw an old lady coming out from that same house, completely bandaged up. She was wrapped up everywhere. Her head and her left arm were wrapped up and she was limping really bad. Later that day, Zoe asked his friend, we're gonna call the friend Steve. Zoe being messy gonna ask Steve, what's wrong with your moms? And Steve said, she was out back hanging clothes last night in the dark and she really couldn't see. She tripped over something back there and really hurt herself. Zoe says, shaking my head. Zoe said till the day he left Haiti, he never told Steve what he saw that night. And Zoe says that he doesn't think that he ever knew that his own mother is a Lugau. And also Zoe says, why are Lugau so damn ugly? I've never seen a good looking one. Wow. Thank you so much for submitting this spooky story. I am gonna tag him down below because he actually doesn't want to stay anonymous. If you have a spooky story that you want me to tell, feel free to submit it to me right here on TikTok or DM me on Instagram. Please do not email me. Like I say at the end of all of my videos, I love you, my abducted humans, from your favorite Haitian homegirl.
Saint Mark? My mom's is from there, okay? But I'ma let you know though, Saint Mark ain't nothing to be playing around with. There's definitely some stuff going on out there. Even in the water with the mermaids. Yes, mermaids. But anyway, family, comment down below.
This explains everything. Why we're even here. That's right, we're talking about the Anunnaki. In 1849, archaeologists unearthed 14 tablets from ancient Mesopotamia, over 4,000 years old, written by the Sumerians, the very first human civilization we know of dating back 6,000 years. These tablets contained the Eridu-Genesis, and what they say could change everything. It started about 445,000 years ago, when these sky gods called the Anunnaki arrived on Earth. And their name has been translated to meaning those from which heaven to earth came. They hailed from a world far out in our solar system called Nibiru that gets close to us every 3,600 years. And don't forget, the Sumerians had pretty advanced astronomical knowledge, somehow without the telescope. Like, they knew about all of the planets. Which sounds impossible, because we know about every planet that orbits the sun, right? Well, as it turns out, NASA has been searching for what they call Planet 9 or Planet X for decades due to finding unexplained gravitational anomalies out there. And recently, Caltech astronomers published evidence of a massive planet with an extremely elongated orbit beyond Neptune, with an orbital period estimated to be around 3,600 years. What are the odds? So why come to Earth? Well, the Anunnaki apparently needed water and gold to fix their atmosphere, which is interesting because we use gold today in spacecraft for radiation shielding because it's incredibly effective. Now, according to the story, the Anunnaki originally brought their own workers called the Ajiji. They were brought in to mine gold in the Persian Gulf in Africa, but they revolted after about 250,000 years of brutal labor and were crushed. Afterwards, an Anunnaki leader named Enki created a slave race of workers by combining the Anunnaki DNA with Homo erectus around 250,000 years ago. They called this species Adamu, which in Hebrew, Adam means man. Sound familiar? Well, the Sumerian tablets were created 1,000 years before the story of Genesis in the Bible. But then things start to happen. Some Anunnaki started interbreeding with human women, and they wound up giving birth to giants. Yeah, those kind of giants that many believe were the Nephilim. And they were incredibly violent and powerful, and it just threw a whole wrench into the Anunnaki's plans. So Enki's brother, Enlil, who was leading things at the time, was like, no, and decided that humanity needed to be wiped out and reset with a cataclysmic flood. Now, hundreds of cultures around the world have a flood myth, and many of these cultures have had zero contact with each other over the eons. So how is it that they would have all had a similar story about a flood? After the flood, the tablets say that the Anunnaki helped the surviving humans to rebuild, but they also installed certain humans as kings, family bloodlines that would rule over the rest of us to make sure that we stayed under their control, while the real rulers from Nibiru watched from afar. Some think that this system is still in place today, just with new names instead of kings and peasants.
You know that huge snowstorm we just had over a big chunk of the United States this last weekend? Well, it may be a little worse than people thought. Because of the snow itself, or more accurately, what's in the snow. There are microbes in that snow. Yeah, people all over the country have been testing it. And they've been finding weird little things in that snow.
Seen that.
Now, microscopic things in the snow isn't really new. There's all kinds of different stuff you can find in there that you can't see with the human eye. But this time it might be a little bit different. Because scientists say some of these microbes could be over 40,000 years old, frozen until now, when because of this massive storm, they're getting freed all over the people in its path. No! So whatever you do, if you go out in the snow, which I understand, we can't avoid going outside entirely. Maybe don't eat any of it. And maybe if you get some snow on you, wipe it off before you come inside and it melts, turns to water, and gets all over your stuff. Okay, Booshkies, I just wanted to share this with all of you.
A lot of people were really upset with me when I said that the are actually lizards.
I wanted to see what would happen if I sent my pet lizard DNA into 23andMe. And so with the help of my wife, we extracted enough saliva to send off in the mail. We were so excited to see the results. After about 3 months, we were shocked. My lizard was 51% Ashkenazi Jewish. He was also 48% West Asian. This was really interesting.
Yes, the Synagogue of Satan, I believe, is literally descended from Cain, and I also believe in the serpent seed theory. Do the comparison in your head. Cain killed his brother. He was cursed to wander the earth forever. They've been banned from 109 countries. Jesus repeatedly refers to the Pharisees as broods of vipers, serpents, says that they made his father's house a den of thieves. Snake dens. Lizards dwell in kings' palaces. We know that Satan appears as an angel of light, and that him and his servants can transform themselves. So to me, the first thing that I thought of was shape-shifting reptilians. And yes, that sounds crazy, but it's in every single culture. Like, every culture ever has always believed that they were a thing. They put it so in our face, it doesn't even make sense to me that I always feel like I'm the only one who sees it. I showed you guys clips from Laws of the Sun. It's a movie about chosen people. This movie was made in the 90s, I think. They're supposedly God's chosen people. They're literally shape-shifting reptilians running the world. And now let's hear what Kate Beckinsale has to say to Jimmy Kimmel about her daughter's boyfriend.
He laid 2 eggs in a week, is what the bright spot was.
Who did?
The boyfriend did. He's a Jew from New Jersey, and I thought possibly it was that, but I haven't met any other Jews from New Jersey who've done that.
Could we rewind for just a moment?
Yeah.
What does that mean, he's laid 2 eggs in a week?
Well, he said, I've laid an egg. And of course I was like, okay, trying to pull focus on the cancer operation, you know. But it had a shell and a yolk.
And the egg came out of his body?
Yes, not out of his mouth or ears. It came out the root that it would come out of a hen.
And then you have the deceptive serpent in Eden, the ancient dragon that comes back in Revelation. And I believe that the ancient dragon, in part, is 1948 Israel, which was established by the Rothschilds, who also literally established the Illuminati. Like, I'm not even exaggerating or kidding. So they themselves also claim to be...
Источник зла – это Бог, не сатана. В иудаизме сатана – это и есть Бог.
There's a lot of things going on out here in this world, family. And you gotta have discernment to discern some of these things. Pay attention and be aware.
So Diddy has a Jezebel spirit. Controlling, manipulative, dominating.
As a former Satanist, warlock, what is the spirit, the demonic spirit behind the Diddy?
Jezebel.
Talk about it.
Jezebel is a spirit. When I was in Santeria, right, Ochun, goddess of the river, I'm sorry, and she was the god, the mother of the god of the honey, right? That's how they described her, but she was Jezebel. Because when Ochun came down to a powerful medium, they had to bring a goat, represents a male, right? They tied the goat's mouth and they castrated him in front of her, alive. In other words, I took your manhood. And then the blood and all that, they do rituals with them. Don't need to get into the whole stuff, but that's what they do, right? So Diddy has a Jezebel spirit, controlling, manipulative, dominating. Diddy doesn't know the difference between man and woman anymore. All these men that he slept with, all these men that he took the manhood, was to take your manhood, to make you what he made him after he took the manhood. He made him an Ahab. See, that was the devil's doing. The devil said, these are the contracts, fulfill the contracts, all these contracts, and I give you all this power. Right? Mm-hmm. Did he fulfill the contract? The contracts are done. The devil tagged you to say, I own you, ownership. Okay? He has ownership. All these other actors and movie stars that he took your manhood. The freak off party, it's not a party. It is transfers of spirits. So you open your body to the drugs that's going on there. We saturate your body to open your body to put demonic spirits in your body, because the next person, that's what the Bible says, sex outside of marriage is a sin. Why is it a sin? Because of two reasons. It brings premature death. Not spiritually, physically, if you catch AIDS or you catch a disease, brings premature death, right? And the other one is transfer spirits in you, all kind of spirits. If that person was a whoremonger and slept with people that had bipolar, slept with people that were depressed, oppression, drug addiction, those spirits now I own part of that. Timeshares. Spiritual timeshares. Wow. I own some of those spirits. Wow. So in the freak off parties, that's what they did. So now the devil said, the contracts are over. I don't have any more contract for you. That's why you see Cardi B. She's freaking out. She's catching meltdown. Katy Perry, meltdown, makeup, meltdowns. I don't want to do this anymore, because the pressure's on for new contract. Not recorded because you have something on somebody. No, you have a contract on that person now. In other words, if you don't continue to do what I want you to do, and then I have leverage over you to expose you and to end your career. Wow. It's a demonic system into what was handed over to P. Diddy. One person cannot accomplish that in his own strength and his own doing. You need the devil and demons involved.
That is crazy work. Beyonce alter ego is Oshun, aka Jezebel, okay? This is why I don't listen to none of that stuff. These supposed to be your people, right? But they leading you down straight to the pit. That is diabolical, family. Oshun, aka Jezebel, okay? Beyonce thinks she's Oshun. When she's on stage, she claims she's Oshun. She's Jezebel. And you know what Jezebel's about. If you don't, do your own research.
I know this man is not stuck on the ice.
Hey, he got his knees on there.
Oh my god, yeah, because you're not supposed to stand on ice. You're supposed to kneel. You gotta spread your center of gravity. Yo, his boat just got stuck and now he's on the water.
Wow.
They are literally getting airlifted out, y'all. I was not joking around. Look, the boat got blown out of the boat was all the way over there, y'all. Got blown all the way over there. And they got to jump out on the... Look. Can you see the guy on the ice? Oh my god, there's two of them. Look at this maneuver. Oh my goodness. It's swooping down. I love this. Oh, this is so entertaining. Is it gonna do it again? A figure eight. And NYPD at sea has arrived.
And away we go. You guys, the brand new Epstein files just dropped and it's completely off the rails. Now let's just jump right into it, starting with this. Bill Gates yet again is in the Epstein files, but this time Epstein mentions his wife in a very, very interesting situation. So Epstein tells Bill Gates, and I quote, "To add insult to injury, you then implore me to please delete the emails regarding your STD. Your request, I provide you antibiotics that you can surreptitiously give to Melinda and the description of your penis." Bro, what? So not only Bill Gates caught something, but then gave it to his wife. Real stand-up guy. Isn't it funny? That same year, in 2013, Bill Gates offers a challenge for $100K to whomever can make the next generation condom. Completely makes sense now. Now, Bill Gates must have been really pissed off because that same year, Epstein gets kicked off of Xbox. Now, who owns Xbox? Microsoft. Now, moving along to the old school TV star Robin Leach, who hosted the show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, who they said unalived a young girl at a party. The files say the complainant claims to have a video of a high-profile sex party dealing with cartels and having witnessed Robin Leach strangle a young girl to death at a party. What is going on? Then we have this picture of Prince Andrew, who, mind you, lost his royal status and got completely exiled. Shows a young female whose face is redacted and only God knows what and where this is taking place. Oh, it gets even worse for Andrew though, because they said back in the 90s, Maxwell recruited a girl for her modeling career, and instead of modeling, she was sold as a slave for sex and torture. The victim's statement says that Prince Andrew was an accessory to her death as he tortured her and made the victim forced to murder her. Then we have Rachel Chandler, aka the child handler. Now, you may or may not have heard of her because she's been under wraps for a long time, but I know exactly who she is. Now, she was a casting agent who worked closely with Epstein and MC2 Models, which was owned by Jean-Luc Brunel, an accomplice of Epstein. Now, here she is credited in the Epstein files, and she's been seen on private jets with Epstein and Bill Clinton. And it's also to note that Jean-Luc Brunel, just like Epstein, unalived himself in his cell. But it doesn't stop there, because Jay-Z is in the Epstein files as well. Says here, approximately in 1996, some man abducted the victim and then she woke up to Jay-Z and Harvey Weinstein, where he inserts her fingers into you know what. Now the victim states that all this went down in Epstein's mansion in Florida. Now you guys, there's a whole lot more. I'm gonna do a part 2, but make sure you guys hit up my YouTube, The Maverick Approach, and let me know what you guys think about all this down below.
The creepos are coming out. But everybody hype about this. But none of these dudes are getting locked up. So what's the sense of the list even coming out? To make them feel embarrassed? When nothing is gonna happen? Names are being thrown left and right and left. What's happened? What's gonna happen?
Nothing. Good day, sir.
These people been committing crime for a long time, even overseas. And nothing happened to them.
Nothing.
As long as they got that bag, they still free. I guess that's what it is. But let somebody down the block across the street in your building do something like that. They gonna throw them under the jail. My thing, I'm saying, these people need to be thrown under the jail.
But there's nothing being done.
So what's the point of the list?
The guy that had a bunch of freaking human bones in his house, Jonathan Gerlach. He is a straight up grave robber. He found this pretty large cemetery, older ones that like people kind of just stopped taking care of it. And he was busting down mausoleums, taking skulls, full corpses. And like people were starting to notice, and the cops just posted up and were like watching the graveyard. And then they found him. This dude, he had this burlap sack and he's scooting along with his freaking bones. They check his house and they find hundreds of skeletons in his basement, as well as a storage unit, because he's I'm running out of room. What? In the video, I think it might have been taken down, like mummified little people, like some of them are wearing like the suits and stuff.
What was he doing with it?
It gets way worse. He was selling them on Instagram.
What?
Bonkers.
Like aesthetic photos of these bones, selling them, and then in the caption, he's like, if you know, you know. Right now, his bail is $1 million cash.
The weirder part to me is the fact that
This
people
is
were
fine.
like, I want these in my home.
What a crazy Instagram ad you would have.
Family, this man was out of this world. Like, how you do that?
It's like my grandmother's dentures.
It is. It's fucking gross. Look at the one hanging. Ugh.
Oh my god. Oh, these ones are cool.
Look at these ones. All the ones behind you. God damn.
Oh, that one's still alive.
That's all alive. But I want to get the hand.
Wow, look at this.
Oh, sorry. Oh my god.
What the fuck? Is that a pacemaker?
Zone family, how this man was able to sleep at night? That is diabolical and crazy. Super mental. Like you go to a cemetery, they don't even operate anymore. Get the bones, storm in your house, storm in storage, and you sell some of them. And you hang some of them up for decoration. That is a wild fetish. That is a diabolical fetish. We really have people like that on this planet. And that is crazy work.
So I got back here, and that's when I saw the female Sasquatch. She tore out of the bushes, knocked me down on the ground, and I thought she was going to kill me. You know, I'm like grabbing for a gun, and then I realized I didn't bring a gun with me. I didn't have a dog with me. I was back here by myself. I was terrified. I was so terrified. It was so scary. And I wouldn't be back here right now, except I feel the need to like get over my fear. And what happened? And what happened was, as soon as I was knocked down on the ground, she starts ripping my clothes off me. She did. She pulled my pants off me, and I'm like, oh great, what? She's gonna kill me. They're gonna find my naked body here. It's worse. It's worse. As soon as she got my pants off me, she started like jerking the ween. And I'm like, whoa, you know, that's not going to work. You know, what are you doing? And then the next thing I know, keep in mind, this is a big Sasquatch, like comparable to like a big hairy Russian woman. I mean, she was big. She was like, you know, 7.5, 8 feet tall and hairy. And so I'm down there on the ground. I'm completely naked. My clothes have been ripped off me. And she starts giving me a knobber. It was all just biological. I didn't have any choice.
Hippy-dippity.
And the next thing you know...
hippy-dippity. Family, what's wrong with my man hippity-dippity? My man is on shrooms or something, okay? He was on shrooms. Or one of his friends pranked him, was in a costume. But my man hippity-dippity wilding out. Comment down below.
Do you think with everything that's going on at the moment with Trump in Venezuela and Greenland, this is going to create cover for...
Oh, I was hoping you would ask me a question like that. I think that's a very important issue that the media really aren't talking about. So let's put it in the context of what happened last week in Venezuela, because they're all moving parts of the same policy. So we sent a Delta Force squad into Venezuela a week ago, and we snatched President Maduro, and he faces international narcotics trafficking charges in New York. Okay, some people are for that, some people are against it. Whether you're for it or against it, it's happened. There's nothing we can do about it now. But that operation may have inadvertently given the green light to something that both the Russians and the Chinese have long sought. The United States really is the only true superpower in the world. You know, the Chinese have a lot more people, they have lots of nuclear missiles, but they have one aircraft carrier. We have 12, soon to be 14. We have way more long-distance bombers. We have way more fighters. The Russians are bogged down in a war in Ukraine. They're winning the war, but they're bogged down nonetheless. So did this reinstitution of the Monroe Doctrine, saying that, you know, from 1814, that the Western Hemisphere is the territory of the United States, it's up to us to protect it from foreign powers. Well, in 1814, that meant the British Navy. We don't really need a Monroe Doctrine, and it's not up to us whether the Argentines want to have good relations with China, for example. We invoked the Monroe Doctrine in this operation to snatch Maduro. So does that mean then that if we have a sphere of influence that is the Western Hemisphere, that the Chinese have a sphere of influence that includes Taiwan, that the Russians have a sphere of influence that includes Ukraine? Because that's kind of what it seems. It looks like we've given the green light to both of those countries, and that we're conceding the fact that it's a unipolar world right now in favor of a multipolar world. Now, personally, I think a multipolar world is safer.
What's a multipolar world?
Multipolar world is where there's not just one superpower. There are 3 or more. So, in terms of policy, this simple act of just sending a team in to grab Maduro has turned international diplomacy on its head. What do we do if the Chinese invade Taiwan? Do we really want to send American soldiers to fight for Taiwan?
What do you think would happen if China tomorrow said, you know what, we're going to take Taiwan?
You know what? Honest to God, I think nothing would happen. I think we would rush to protect Australia, Japan, South Korea, the Philippines, Thailand. We'd rush to protect them.
Why?
Because they're major non-NATO allies. They're good friends, close friends. But in terms of going to Taiwan to fight Chinese soldiers, I can't imagine it.
Trump told the New York Times that whether China moves on Taiwan is ultimately up to Chinese President Xi Jinping, not the USA, adding that he's told Xi he would be very unhappy if China changed the status quo. He claimed he doesn't think Xi will act while he's president.
See, and that is actually what the long-term policy is. The long-term policy is, sure, someday, to be determined later, you guys can unify.
Just don't do it while I'm here.
Yeah, don't do it today.
Maybe when Trump goes.
God forbid.
So who do you think is the real adversary of the West? Because we often talk about it being Russia or...
I think it's China.
Why? What is it that we don't realize about China and their agenda?
Oh, wow, so much. The Chinese are so good at what they do. And the Chinese are so patient. You know, in the United States, we don't have long-term timelines for anything. When we want something, we want it now.
Is that in part because we have this 4-year election cycle?
Yes, I believe that it is. The Chinese will plan for something 25 years down the road.
Because they'll still be in power then.
Yeah. And so, you know, they're really good at stealing technology. There are more Chinese PhD students in the hard sciences here in the United States than you can shake a stick at. They're everywhere. They're at every major university, and they're really, really smart. And then oftentimes they'll say, oh, you know, I've had such a great experience here. I'd like to stay in the United States. Yeah, I bet you would. I bet you would. So you can spy for China.
Do you think that's happening?
Every single day.
You think that Chinese students are in America spying on behalf of China?
Yes. Yes.
How could you be so sure?
I'm 1,000% sure.
How could you be so sure?
Because we frequently arrest them and then trade them for Americans who are in Chinese prisons. Yeah.
Damn.
And they're masquerading as students.
PhD candidates, always in the hard sciences, always.
So China are the long-term adversary. And what is it that China want? What is it they're doing? And what is the outcome?
I think they want a couple of things. I think that on a more immediate basis, they want reunification with Taiwan. It's going to happen someday. Even the Taiwanese will tell you, yes, we're a part of China, but we're kind of not a part of China. We're not really independent, but we are kind of independent. Even American policy is that Taiwan is a part of China. And eventually, someday, they'll be reunited.
That was CIA John, retired CIA John. He definitely know what he's talking about. But anyway, family, that was a lot to unpack. Let me know what you thought about that.
Why am I the only one that thinks this is absolutely insane right now? The company Ring just made a flying security camera that patrols your house while you're gone. And no, this is not a concept, it is real and people are already buying it. This obviously sounds like it's straight out of a movie, but the company Ring, which is the doorbell camera company owned by Amazon, developed an autonomous flying drone that patrols the inside of your house. The entire purpose of this is that it's supposed to do it while you're away, and it's called the Always Home Cam, and it literally flies room to room checking on all of your stuff. So if you're somebody that owns a Ring alarm and something triggers that alarm, the drone will literally fly to that exact spot and live stream what's there. Did you leave the house and forget if you turned the stove on or not? Because no problem, the drone can just go fly and check. The camera apparently only records whenever it's flying, and then Ring says that it's designed to be as loud as a vacuum cleaner so everybody in the house knows that it's filming. I don't know why I expected it to be much more expensive than this, but it only costs $250, and it's been a limited invite-only release because they've had trouble teaching it how to navigate. Apparently, the drone doesn't really know what windows and mirrors are. Ring's founder himself literally said it's an autonomous flying vehicle in your home. There's a lot of devil in the details. So what does that mean? Do we now officially live in a world where your security camera can fly around the house?
How did this stray dog become a U.S. Army sergeant and one of the most respected war heroes in history? It all began when a stray dog wandered into a U.S. military training camp camp in 1917. At first, he didn't bother anyone, just hanging around the camp, so the soldiers let him stay. And over time, he learned how to salute, march along with troops, respond to bugle calls, and even named him Stubby because of his short tail. But eventually, the soldiers had to deploy to Europe for World War I, intending on leaving him behind since animals weren't permitted on ships. But one of the soldiers named James Conroy built a deep connection with Stubby and decided to smuggle him on board, which ended up being one of the best decisions in history. But things got intense quickly. Stubby was immediately sent into the trenches as nothing more than moral support, where soon after his first few days, a brutal gas attack would injure Stubby, but this moment flipped a switch. After recovering, Stubby became highly sensitive to mustard and poison gas, warning soldiers before attacks even began, saving them multiple times. But Stubby kept learning more, becoming increasingly useful, eventually capable of detecting enemy artillery strikes before impact, spotted enemy movements at nighttime, bit and held onto a German spy mapping out Allied territory, exposing him to soldiers, helped locate wounded men after battles, barking until medics arrived, and got exploded by a grenade, but recovered and continued his services. Where throughout Stubby's career, he not only survived 17 battles, became a celebrity, was promoted to sergeant and won multiple awards, but saved hundreds of lives. And in 1926, Stubby would die peacefully due to natural causes, as a true war hero.
I had to research Stubby to make sure it wasn't cap, cause the story seemed like too good to be true. So I had to research it, and Stubby was definitely a hero. He was in the field. He was doing the do. He was dodging, grooving, moving, grooving, and sliding. He was really him. Stubby made moves for the people. Stubby saved a lot of lives, moving, grooving, vibing, and sliding. So respect to Stubby, a man best friend. Yo, guy in flame.
Yo, ¿qué güey, eso es el diésel, güey. Güey, cuando hay diésel, tu puta madre.
That was Diabolical. Leave that to the professionals. He was looking like Dacine from Street Fighter.
Hold on, wait.
Yo, guy in flame looking ass.
Shut up, man.
Mailman ain't delivering taxes. Nah, he violated. Mailman don't even get paid that much. Golly. Damn. He must have missed a paycheck. Taxes or something. Golly, leave the mailman alone, bro. The mailman must not deliver the tax papers or that check.
Damn.
He violated my man. Y'all know the mailman don't get paid that much, right? And he be working super hard. You know how much routes they do? How much sidewalks and blocks they walk? Diabolical. That was a crash out. Low vibrational. Diabolical. But anyway, family, I appreciated you if you made it all the way to the end. You are goated. You are definitely goated. You are one of them ones. You are loved at the highest zone. I definitely appreciate you. And if it's your first time here, you ain't locked in with the family yet, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for every time I drop. You can rock out with me and the family. I definitely appreciate you too. With that being said, Zone family, do not forget to hit that share button and that hype button for more people that's like-minded like you, beautiful-minded like you, get to see the videos. With no further ado, stay hydrated, stay motivated, vibrate high, remove negative people from around you, and love thy neighbor. I'll catch y'all on the next one, Zone family. Peace.
Zone.